Welcome. I am Crimey Queen, and if you are joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. Yes, numerology. Numerology is offering us the expertise, if you like. It's offering us the tool, the resources to understanding more about who we truly are. It is truly a wonderful instrument. Yes. Okay. It is through numerology. I'm selling numerology now, or I'm giving away numerology. It is through that we have discovered that the Bible, the King James Version that we are doing our presentations on, is really a book of numerology. And at one time I thought it was only the Old Testament, but Spirit have told me, yes, it is also the New Testament. But I have been now on this list or series of presentations trying to understand the beginning of the beginning. It's that notion or understanding. It's as if that we all want to know more about ourselves. It's like you'd want to know who your parents are. You'd want to know what town you were born in. There is that makeup within our psyche to want to know, because we are born that way. We are created that way. We are created to create, and for us to be able to create, it's that we need to have an understanding about our makeup, and the clearer understanding we have of our own makeup, that then helps us or pivots our attention on what it is that we really ought to be creating. And oftentimes I think we create in the sense of search, of finding out about our creation or how we were created. But instead of creating with that search in that sense, which of course it's all about creation, but when we do get to understand how we are or where we derive from, then what we create is more of a joyous disposition. It becomes a joyous disposition. We create with a sense of knowingness and not necessarily a sense of searching, and that's the difference. Okay, so lots of my presentations here, and I prefer to say our presentations, because not just single here, the embodiment of 14 gods that I'm recognizing, the embodiment of Mother Eve, the snake, Satan, the serpent, the Christ spirit within us, the pyramid that we see, but it's the pyramid within the heart. I like to do the pyramid in the heart because it just gave me so much joy to see that. So it's really H-E-A-R-T. I love the word heart even more as well, because it has the word art. This is the thing that numerology offered me the opportunity to see that. So I would have looked at the word heart before, not necessarily see that it has the construct of air right in the middle, or the word hair, or the word E, or the word H-E-R, or the word heat, H-E-A-T. So basically, there is so much numerology offers us. Oh, I need to get my brush. Wow. Okay. Excuse. So there we are. The serpent, yes, has been bringing me back and forth to the beginning. And we have discovered in Genesis, it's just so so wonderful that we're going back as Mother Eve. I call the serpent Mother Eve. Mother Eve has been taking me back to Genesis of chapter 1, and I keep going back to nearer and nearer to the first verse in actual fact. So of course, the one of the verses that were very enlightening is that, which is what Mother Eve is prompting me to do now, is that it's the let there be light. We are going back to this. Let there be light. Let there be light. Okay. Now we have done the numerical value for that, which is, of course, we know there was light, because whatever Mother Eve says really goes. It's just that people don't really realize that. So there is, this is 10, which is 1, and this is 2, and B is 7. Now, and light is also 2 in that it is 11, just like there. So if we add this together, we'd have 9, that is 2, plus 7 is 9, 10. So the first 3 words equal 10, and the first word equal 10. And if we do the numerical value for the word 10, we could see how the interrelation is here. This becomes 12, and of course 1 plus 2 equals 3. We can see the magic of number 1 and 3 right here. So, of course, there we know about the magic of 3 in particular here, or the magnitude of 1 in this sense. So, what Mother Eve now is prompting me to do in this presentation is reminding me of something that I had seen, and I did question it, but it's like a lot of things that I have questioned and they have been answered, but they seem so far-fetched from what we knew. So I seem to just put it aside for a while, and I think that is why I have not been able to go to penetrate the meaning or of the construct of beginning satisfactorily, in the sense that I will know when it is done. And so it's like it hasn't been done because I have put certain things on the burner. And Mother Eve is saying it's like I'm almost about to get the sting of the serpent if I don't do this. So we have discovered, okay, let there be light. And it would have helped to get the reference of the scripture verse. But if you're watching this presentation, I am believing that you would have some degree of spiritual knowledge, and also texts from the Bible, some knowledge of the Bible, the Holy Bible. And King James Version, maybe not, but it's the one we are working with because it's the numerical construct of our world. This is what a lot of Britain, America, I believe the Western world is really built or created or evolve, I should say. I don't know much about going too far into the history of it, but I believe a lot of the structures we have in places, really the creation of the numerical values or numerical templates, we could say, of the Holy Bible. In essence, where we see that it is said, well, whether it was Jeremiah or no, it's in Ezekiel, where the ark should be built, whether it was 3 cubit centimeters or cubit, whatever it is, those are definitely a mathematical template that was put in place. Okay, for those who can understand it as well. So what I have discovered here first is that the B, as I have said before, the B is really number 13. And when you come into agreement like Christ at the Last Supper with his disciples, came into agreement to breaking of the bread and introducing, I think it was an introduction, but eating of the bread and drinking of the wine and saying, when you do this, every time you do this, remember me, because it represents my blood and it represents my flesh, the two. So there was agreement, and in agreement is an equal sign. So I say an equal sign, and there we have this as equal. Then it is like saying, of course, there's a bond. But the bond gets broken every now and then. And as we can see, that it comes under, it has a numerical value of 2. So I had been making reference, if you have watched other presentations, where I have touched again on black, white, equation of entrapment, in looking at the color black and the color white, or functions. I need to correcting these functions, the function of black and the function of white. And we see in those functions that 2 is really like foundation, but it is the number of harmony. It is the number of harmony. It is the number of partnership. It's the number of agreement, and so on. And this is the 2 here is really a representation of that bond that happens with Christ and his disciples. Of course, this is really very good example to be able to see the 5 right there. Is that 5, we could see the head of the 5 is going forward, and that in itself is now beginning to give me an example of what I'm trying to talk about here. So 5 is like this, and it has the ability to connect with 2 from its back, from the 2's backside, so to speak, and then it can move ahead, because although 5 is central on the sacrifice template, we have the sacrifice template, sacrifice, and 5 is really on here, the middle, but it is that when we have 5 in the middle and we have 2 at the end, and 5 being of a stronger, we could say in our teaching, it has more value, it has more force, because it also, and it does, because it actually has the masculine and feminine aspect to it. To some extent, 2 does the same. 2 also does, because it is got this, it's like the opposite, it has the opposite motion, we could say, because there is like lines, hard lines here. So in essence, there probably is a sort of relationship, but it means that the 5 seem to have a bigger mass of body that can pull or gravitate, or that can pull 2. And of course, that in itself shows that they have a relationship, but 5 has this, 5 is where we are called to be. 5 is Eve. 5 is the serpent. So basically, the people with the attributes of 5, or who understand 5's makeup, can actually have a greater influence on 2 than 2 would have on 5. That's what I mean. Okay. Perhaps not, but I'm thinking so. Because 5 as well, here, has the attribute of, well, E, of course, because it has the value of E. And E has the ability, in this sense, to be E. We have been doing this in a soft mode. It has the ability to be E or M. Let's use this style. It has the ability to be free. It has the ability to be W, and the ability to be E, of course. So we see that this is this reminds me of something. Okay, but I have been doing the 8-petal star, but here this gives us an idea to see how 8 is also 4, because we are looking at 4 aspects here, so it is more central in that case. Oh, but of course, and it does remind us of the cross here. Okay, so okay, so that is what 5 is, and actually that's what 5 is. It's the cross in essence, because that's where Mother Eve had eaten of the fruit. It's like eating of the fruit and getting that transformation of carrying the cross or bearing the cross. And so this is where 5 gains that strength. Like a mother would eat, okay, after weaning a child, for instance, it tends to, the mother tend to, I don't know if it's in all cases, but we did, to really get the child, to introduce food to the child, we tend to taste the food, and of course, and then feed the child. We did that by tasting. It's a way of, in our culture, teaching the child it is safe. It's all right to eat. It's delicious. And so the child is mirroring your expressions, and of course more likely to eat. We go, it's lovely, taste of this. Okay, so we are asked to be E. This is how I am reading this here. So be here, which is 2, is really asking to be 5. Now B, of course, as it is, although we look at it as 2, but it also is 4, because it's 1 and 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. But that doesn't mean it ends there. It really is a beehive that can contain a lot. But it's my concern had been who is controlling what inside, and who is doing what, and how can people get out of the beehive or that bee state to be E. And so we can see the head of the 2 is facing that way, and basically the 5, it's as if 5 can really, with its curve, can really hook onto 2, but 2 doesn't quite know where it's going. It has to just trust. Okay, so the lesson, what Mother Eve has been telling me, going back to the light, like I was talking about, is when Christ said in his teachings, don't you know you are the light of the earth? Now that was the revelation that came back to me, that said, because we're talking about the beginning, so bear with me, and I'm doing the snake thing here, going in and out. So you are the light of the earth. And I think we did the numerical value, counted the light, let there be light, all equal 10. Let there be was 7, yeah, 10. Okay. And don't you know you are the light of the earth? So light of the earth, I have done this, covered in some of the presentation. So then that tells me in Genesis of chapter 1 verse 3, if it is said that God said, let there be light, and there was light, and Christ saying that you are the light of the earth, then that would mean man or being was actually called forth in that series of occurrences when it was said, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So the word day actually is what got me thinking. The word day equals 417. When we add this together, that's 8 and 4 is 12. 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, what I recall from this 3 now, of course, is the 3 that forms the M, that forms the 3, the E, and the W like I have just done. So this is the 8-petal flower. The 8-petal flower, the number 8 is number 8 of God. So God had created right there with the light, God herself, because it was the said God who said that, or which is the construct of both male and female, if we can use the word construct, the said God. God is 8 right here. So God is 8 and the said God is 6. We add this together, we get 5. That's 5. It's 14, which coincides with what I want to talk about. So we discovered we had 14 gods, of course, in Genesis, meaning the made God, the said God. Let's see if I've got something I need to remember to keep close. Okay. Yes. My fingers, I learned, have memory. Okay. So we had the said God, the saw God, the divided God, called, formed, made, set, ended, the one who breathed, the one who created, the one who moved and planted and blessed, and so on. So these are going on with the 14 gods we got. So, of course, it's the said God who said, let there be light. It's also the said God who later on said, let the lights be for day and also for night, and let them be for signs and seasons. So basically, for signs and seasons, we see that the day, for instance, when it is said, and the morning and the evening were the first day. That is the thing that sticks with me, because the light now corresponds with the day. Light became day. Light became day. So that tells me that we human being, however it was, whether had been in a life form or not, the light of which correspond to the day was a representation of human or people or being or something. Now I go with human because it's what comes to mind, and so I am also guided that way. I haven't done this word, I don't think, in all my 500 plus. I don't recall doing human before. So this is 10 and this is 21. This is 10 and this is 11, so this is 21. 21 is 2 plus 1 is 3. That coincides with the light. This is how Mother Eve works. And this is why we are instructed to trust our intuition. I have done over 500 videos. And if I had done human once, I don't think I had done it twice. I don't recall. And now human comes to mind because Mother Eve wants me to explain that human had been in existence when it was said, let there be light, and there was light. human was light. I'm going to end on this point because as the, of course, coinciding with Genesis of chapter 1 verse 3. So we see the 2 3s are there, and it all came about when Christ said, don't you know you are the light of the earth? And there, if we are the light of the earth, and the day was called light, it was actually called light, and God called the light day, one light, he called it day, or he called the day light, and he called the night. But there was that. I'm going to make more reference to that in my next video. Do join me again on the Crimey Queen channel. I hope you have found this fun. Now, basically, this is saying that there was 6 days. And also the word day would coincide with they, They. This is interesting. This is interesting. Thank you. And do spill over with love.